Mel Searle, tōku ingoa. I'm from the Career Development Centre. And so I'm really standing in tonight for Linley Soper. So I'm not the Sciences Division Career Advisor. I'm actually the Health Sciences Career Advisor. So this is why I have copious notes with me to remind me of what I'm talking to you about tonight. Interesting wee story for you though. You just never know where your studies are going to take you, or more correctly, where are you going to take your studies or your degree. My first course of study was microbiology, and hey, look at me. Since then I have studied microbiology, went and worked in a lab for some time, didn't really like lab work, so went and got a job as a drug rep out on the road. All I really wanted was a bit of a science background. Realised very quickly that I wasn't really a salesperson, so endured that for 3 years before going to work at ESR, then had kids, thought I lived in the country, couldn't go back to ESR, so studied psychology because I'd always been interested in people, trained as a teacher, worked as a science teacher for a number of years, and now here I am in careers, sort of maybe able to pass on some wisdom about making decisions and making good decisions for yourself. So that's partly what I'm going to talk about tonight. Really contributing to the discussion. I think listening to other people talk about what their career pathway has been is a fantastic way to learn. So I look forward to hearing those as well. What I guess I'm popping into the conversation is some ideas, some things to think about, maybe some thinking and some learning for you to do, learning about yourself a little bit, then sussing out what's going on in the job market, and pointing you in the direction of resources that can help you. So resources including myself and my colleagues at the Career Development Centre, we're willing and able to have one-on-one conversations with you about any of the things that I cover tonight. So yeah, be aware that those services are available for you, and please do use them. So exciting times, isn't it? I'm assuming that a lot of you are finalists, some of you may not be finalists, but no matter what stage you're at, there's stuff that you can be thinking about. If you're a finalist, you're kind of getting to this point, and it can feel a bit like this, can't it? You know, my God, where am I going? How am I going to get there? What are all these decisions that I need to be making? Studying an academic program like biochemistry, microbiology, etc., it's not like completing a professional program where, you train for a job and it's quite obvious what job you're going to be going to. Instead, you need to apply a bit of creativity once you've completed your studies and think about, now that you've completed them, where is it that you would like to take this knowledge and these skills that you've gained through your studies? So I encourage you not to worry about all of this. The things that are in the distant are distant. A lot can change in a fairly short period of time. The world of work is dynamic and it's changing a lot. So instead, just focus on the coming decisions and really be trying to make informed decisions. I would say there's no correct or one right decision. Instead, better decisions than others. So learn as much as you can about yourself and the options before making decisions would be a big piece of advice that I would be giving out. So we've put together this sort of like a bit of a decision-making model, some ideas to help you, sort of guide you in terms of what do you need to be thinking about, and starting with sort of yourself. So there's some things that you can do, contemplate, do a wee bit of research into in terms of, you already know quite a bit about yourself, but you may not be able to sort of speak about this if you were asked to. So putting some time into this, and I'll go into some resources that you could use or some things that you could think about in terms of better understanding yourself and what you bring to an opportunity or to an employer. Because when you're applying for jobs, that's what they want you to tell them about. What do you bring? When you've done some self-assessment, you start to develop some themes or some sort of insights about you, where you might want to go, what sort of purpose you might want to be fulfilling in your roles. So this can help. You can sort of factor that in as well. And then once you've gathered a bit of info about yourself, start looking out there to what the opportunities are, getting to know the labour market, the sectors, what organisations are operating in that space, and then sort of zooming in a bit closer onto jobs. And we can help with all aspects of this. There's some ideas there on the slides, like using LinkedIn, informational interviewing, gaining experience, then in terms of applying your CV, cover letters, interviewing. We can help with all of these things. You're not alone. There's tons of resources and also one-on-one support if you need it. So identifying your options, then moving on to making decisions, making applications. It's drawn as a cycle for a reason, because you may get settled into a job now or in the near future, but in the future there's likely that you'll be looking for another job, so a similar process is something that you would work through. So in terms of self-assessment, some questions that might help with this. So it's maybe seemingly basic things, but what are you interested in? What are you good at? You know, who are you? Pretty deep and meaningful thing to contemplate, but yeah, being honest with yourself about who you really are and what it is that you want to become. What do you offer, as I mentioned before, to an employer, a role or an opportunity, and what's important to you, and what do you want to contribute to? That last couple of lines, these can be the aspects of a role that can be very lasting. If you find a role where you really do believe in what you're contributing to, it can give a lot of satisfaction. So certainly something to factor in. We've developed this tool to sort of, it's based on a well-known careers theory, the theory of Holland, which goes back to war times, really. So it's been around for a long time, a lot of research behind it, so it is a proven theory that can help people, help guide you in terms of your work interests. So it's based on the six, the hexagon, the six different aspects of people. It's said that everyone can be either a combination of 1, 2 or 3 of these. So the hands-on doing, the more sciencey sort of thinking, creative, helping, influencing, organising. And I think that intuitively we can have a bit of a feel for where we are in this space. One thing to know is that this is not relating to your degrees or the subjects that you've studied, but instead you can kind of think of it as an overlay over all subjects. So for example, you may have studied microbiology, but you might sort of feel that you actually are quite a creative person in terms of the way that you want to work. And so if that was the case, those areas, the skills that are in the circle out from the creating word, so the design, innovation and imagination, and leading out to the types of the skills in that green area may be the types of roles that you will be looking for. Taking it to another, sort of zooming in a little further, we have, with the same regions of the hexagon, then added some named roles to these areas, just really as starting points. This isn't precise, it's not about matching yourself to a job, but it's arguably can be really useful for eliminating some areas. If you decide that you're clearly not, for example, a creative person, then you know to stay well away from that area. So yeah, just another tool to help to add to your self-knowledge, your knowledge about yourself. There's the QR code that's just come up there takes you to a small assessment that you can do to work out for yourself where you are in terms of here. So it'll give you a 3-letter code that relates to 3 of those 6 criteria. So strengths is another thing to become aware of when you're getting to the stage of applying for jobs. Strengths are, I guess it's obvious, they're the things that you do well. They might be things that come naturally to you, so you might even not really give them a lot of thought. Or they might be things that you've developed and mastered through practicing. But when it comes to jobs, employers really do want to know what your strengths are. It matters. So becoming aware of this, either through completing an assessment like this, asking people that know you well, what do you think I'm best at? What do you think my strengths are? Can be really useful. Quite a common job interview question is, what are your key strengths in relation to this role? So yeah, I think going through, spending a little bit of time thinking about this, being able to name your strengths can be useful. This assessment is on My Career Space, which is one of the online resources that we have available to you, and I'll show you how to access that a little bit later on. Yeah, we put, this is the UN Sustainability Goals, and we put this up because contemplating or thinking about what the sustainability goals can be a helpful or useful way to incorporate your values into your decision making. By thinking about these and deciding on some that you feel strongly about, that would give you a sense of purpose if you could incorporate them into your whole sort of decision-making process. As I said before, can lead to lasting satisfaction within your job. So yeah, it's just another one of many things to contemplate when you're going through this process. When thinking about what you do well, what your skills are, don't forget about the papers that you've studied. The learning outcomes from papers, particularly papers that you've done well in, can be really a powerful indicator of the skills you've mastered and the things that you do well. These can also be really helpful for vocabulary when it comes to writing your CV. Yeah, really, really useful resources to be aware of and to use. So your studies are clearly a really important part of who you are and what you bring, but there's so much more to you as well. And so, you know, be aware that employers do value the other aspects of yourself. They make a difference to who you are and what you bring to a role. So be aware of the importance of the other things that you've been involved in. Certainly know that it's good to be writing about voluntary activities, for example, in your CV. If you've had leadership roles through sport or committees, employers want to know about this. Yeah, just you as a whole person is very relevant to employers. And yeah, and if you're wondering about what you bring, ask a friend. I mean, friends know you well, so friends can be really good for helpful input for this. Yeah, getting to know yourself a bit more. So a little bit of futuristic thinking here. So this is from the World Economic Forum. So based on some robust sort of research and I guess also a bit of looking into the crystal ball, but these are the skills that have been identified as being in demand by the time 2027 comes around. A couple of things to note there, only a couple of them really relate to tech. There's a lot of ways of thinking talked about, so you know, these are things that have been evolving within you for a long time, but also through your studies. Some things in relation to, I guess, what might be called softer skills in terms of the way that you relate to people. But yeah, I think really interesting to know that these are the things that, you know, are predicted to be in demand. So just switching across to researching the job market and what your options might be. So some things to ponder. So do you know where to look for jobs? Maybe there are postgraduate study options that you want to look into. Reflecting again on where do your skills and your knowledge actually fit out there in the world of work. Reading some job ads can be really helpful just for research and getting a feel for what jobs are really like, your day-to-day life in a particular job. Some research in terms of where previous graduates have gone, and I'll show you LinkedIn in a few moments because that can be a great resource for that. And you know, using your existing networks, friends of friends, friends of the family, members of families of your friends. You know, there are potentially helpful contacts all around you. So do use those. And also, I know that networking can feel a little cringy, but it's really just about getting to know more people, and you know, by building your network you will certainly become more likely to be aware of opportunities that are presenting. So other factors to consider, I mean, the reality is you have great skills and knowledge, but who could pay for those? Thinking about what industries exist and which ones make money. Again, you're thinking about what industries you want to target and what actually are entry-level roles in these industries. Getting a handle on that can really help with your job search because you'll be using the right words to find roles. Other strategies that you can think of, that you consider other than just kind of applying for jobs, is job shadowing. Job shadowing can help build your contacts. You learn a whole lot about a role or about related roles through doing it. Volunteering really can yield huge results. You get to know people, that it shows your enthusiasm for something. People are really grateful for help sometimes. And yeah, networking. So these are some of the platforms that you can be looking for jobs on, so hopefully you're already aware of all of these. New Zealand Uni Talent is available through My Career Space. That's the one that all of the universities link into, and it's where employers who are specifically looking for graduates in New Zealand advertise their roles. You've got Possible there, Job Done for local Dunedin-based internships. I thought I'd put a job ad up here just to sort of emphasise the fact that job ads can be a good thing to get familiar with. They talk about the opportunity. This is for a micro technician role, what you'd be doing, so the responsibilities day to day, so routine testing, following quality assurance procedures, that sort of thing, and then a few points about you. So they're looking for someone with a BSc majoring in micro. Some specific skills that they're looking for, people sort of characteristics they want. They want someone who can demonstrate strong attention to detail. Now this might be something that obviously you can demonstrate through your studies, but you may have also done some part-time work that you can demonstrate this through, or volunteering. The ability to communicate clearly, and passion for quality customer focus. So your holiday jobs can become very relevant even when you're applying for graduate roles. If you've done customer service, it will be relevant to many, many jobs that you apply for. So yeah, I do really encourage browsing job boards just to get familiar with what roles look like. You might decide that a role that you thought was going to be really interesting and enjoyable really doesn't sound like you at all, and that can be useful as well. This diagram's up here just to highlight the fact that there's this thing called the hidden job market. And what that means is that a lot of jobs or a lot of hires, am I going right for time? I can't see my watch while I'm, yeah. A lot of hires or jobs are not advertised at all. In fact, it's said that maybe 70% of jobs are not advertised. So that's a big number. And, you know, how do they get filled? It's from that sort of blue area of networking and down. It's people knowing people and who know about an opportunity, and so they hire someone. The ironic thing about this is that for employers, they tend to be more comfortable operating in that bottom area, knowing someone who wants a job, or hiring from within their organisation. It's safer, it's cheaper, it avoids all that admin of advertising a job and getting a whole lot of applicants and having to sift through them. Meanwhile, employees or people looking for jobs tend to start at the top, where you imagine that most of the jobs are, but they probably really aren't. So it's a little bit of a, yeah, it's a sign to be getting involved with the networking side of things and broadening your contacts. Actually, it can also highlight the value of just getting a job within an organisation, because then you become an internal applicant for other roles. So sometimes that old saying of getting a foot in the door is really quite a true one. So LinkedIn, hands up who uses LinkedIn, has a LinkedIn profile. Oh yeah, I'd say that's about half, so good on you for having a LinkedIn profile. Other people who haven't yet, I do encourage you to. We make it easy. We run a weekly seminar on setting up your LinkedIn profile, learning about LinkedIn. It takes 1 hour. We run them at different times of the week every week. You can find those on Career Hub. So yeah, I do encourage this. Why use LinkedIn? I mean, it's really your virtual work community, or it can become that. It's how you can get to know people, get to know about opportunities. There are jobs advertised on LinkedIn. All of these other things. I mean, yeah, I think it can be a very powerful learning tool as well at your stage. It's not all about putting yourself out there if that makes you feel reluctant. It can be just as much about you learning things. For example, if you follow the university, there's this tool called the Alumni tab. So you follow the university, or any university actually, go on the university's page, and you can then search the alumni. There's about 18,000 Otago alumni on LinkedIn. You can search by keyword. In this case, it's been microbiology. And then you can get to see where these people are, where they work, what they do, and what their skills are. And you can also see profiles of people in this group, and you can learn quite a bit from looking at a couple of profiles. What were their first jobs that they got? What did they study? Did they do postgrad study? Those sorts of things can be really quite inspiring and informative to help you see a way that you could get to where you want to go. Informational interviewing. Speed up. Is another strategy to use. Just really check this out. The slides will be available for you. It's a way of meeting someone. You plan for it, have questions mapped out, make it quite professional. Imagine that this might be a future employer that you're talking to. This is not a time when you're asking for a job, but it's more about learning about a job and increasing your connections. So onto some resources. So this is Career Hub, and there's the QR code. My Career Space is circled there because this is where you can get to My Career Space, and this is what My Career Space looks like. My Career Space, very extensive library of resources. Under all of these tabs are resources, tools. There's quite a cool employability assessment you can do on that tab. There's articles and resources behind all of these tabs. Here's New Zealand Uni Talent that you can get to on the Jobs tab on either My Career Space or Career Hub. Please always push the search button because you can't see anything on the front page, and then you will see this kind of thing. So there's the jobs are listed down here, and each one comes up in that column. Moving along quite quickly. Here's the front page of the employability tool that I was mentioning before. This is quite a cool assessment to do, just to work out where you are. How ready are you to be launching yourself into the world of work? Can highlight some areas that you might need to work on. Here's our Padlet that we have for sciences. The QR code is here, so that will be available to you. And just to sum up other things that we do with students. So that's me. Thank you very much for your attention, and let's look forward to the other presenters. Thanks very much, people.